Parker, you were in the venue when Houston upset Duke. And let's take that out of context. Let's pretend that that's the sentence and you just woke up from a coma and didn't watch the game. You're like, yeah, I could see Houston beating Duke. That's possible. But then when I give you the context of down by 6, Duke has the ball 40 seconds to go, or even down by 6, Houston has the ball 33 seconds to go, or there's a missed shot on Houston's opportunity before that putback, and Duke's got another chance at a rebound to put the game away. Then the Cougars win it. I want to know what you're feeling at the 8-minute mark when you're down 14.
8 minutes down 14. I'm really trying to find because I'm there with my dad and we got given a pair of tickets and it was an awesome experience. Shout out to Michael Brown for the tickets. And we get there and I'm sitting there okay, my dad and I are having a great day. I can't let this ruin the day. I can't let a 14, okay, it happens. Not every team wins their last game. I know I talk myself up. And then it gets cut to 6 and Emmanuel shoots that 3 and I'm like, no, we're winning. This is over. It was as soon as Emmanuel let that one fly, I felt really, really confident. Just a full 180 in a short stretch. I want to say that you mentioned going into the break that it was a football stadium. 68,000 plus was the official reported attendance. I think a lot of the Auburn and Florida fans actually stayed, it looked like, just in looking at the sea of people. And it felt kind of quiet, honestly, for basically the first 37 minutes because it was a lot of Houston fans. It's only about a 2.5 hour drive or so from campus to stadium. And it's what is there to cheer for? They're not playing very well. They can't make any shots. Duke's kind of getting what they want on offense. And then about the 5-minute mark, it kind of started getting a little bit louder. The lead started chipping away. And then you mentioned the dunk, but it was the Emmanuel Sharp 3, the possession before that, it erupted. It was just bonkers, crazy loud. I mean, it felt like all 68,000. No, mathematically, it was not all 68,000 people cheering for Houston, but it felt like all 68,000 just going crazy. They're really going to do this. They're really going to pull this off. And it felt like we hadn't seen Duke score in a long time. So then walking out of the stadium and checked Twitter, it was they scored one field goal in the final 9.5 minutes or whatever, or 10 or whatever it was. That wasn't just the way it felt. That's what really, really happened. Man, there was so many moments, right? Because even then, Malik Wilson has the steal, or the steal happens and falls back in Malik Wilson's hands. And we're all having split-second flashbacks to when Malik Wilson hit the shot against Kansas to force double overtime, right? Yeah. He steps back behind the three-point line and he misses. And there's a split second, we're oh, this isn't Kansas. And then JoJo Tugler dunks the putback. And we're just oh my God. The whole stadium's going crazy, crazy from that moment on as well. Just back and forth. And then when Cooper Flagg misses, you got Juwan covering him, and that's 6th-year senior versus kid that just turned 18, young freshman. And he misses, and they're, frankly, if I'm being honest, you kind of anticipate Duke getting a whistle there. So I think everyone's kind of holding their breath, is Duke going to get the Duke whistle here? What's what's going to happen? And they don't. Houston gets the rebound, and it takes Duke, I think, a split second to realize what happens, because they get the ball to Cryer, who's the best shooter on the team, best shooter in America in a lot of ways. And it gets to Cryer 4 free throws when they foul and find lanes. Duke didn't know what to do there. It was Cryer goes to the line, makes his free throws. I just felt chaos. Just felt like chaos. Those final, I guess it was 75 seconds or something. Just nuts. Nuts.
I think I was counting points missed by Houston, which I tend to do as a basketball fan. I watch, and Tugler misses a wide open dunk, and there are a couple opportunities for layups that don't go. And every time LJ Cryer misses a free throw, I'm cringing because the guy makes them so often. And in the biggest moment, he misses a couple in the middle of this game. And I'm thinking, wow, Houston's not getting as many trips to the line. They've missed a couple close-up shots. And Duke's playing really good perimeter defense. You're going to have to take whatever they give you. And then once the full court press was put on by Sampson there at the end, I'm also screaming with 1 minute and 10 to go, foul. Please. Duke has the ball. They're running the clock out. Kelvin Sampson says don't foul. If the Blue Devils score there, this game is likely over. And then down the stretch, of course, it's Juwan Roberts and LJ Cryer made free throws that put this thing away and help you beat Duke. Give me the reaction of the stadium, because I've been in a couple games where massive moment, one team at the highest high, the other team the lowest low, and the entire arena is just filled with this hodgepodge of chaos that brings you to a moment that is unexplainable in sports. When the buzzer sounded and that shot did not go from Proctor, just every piece of every fiber of your being, how do you describe it?
Well, it's funny. The section I was sitting in, the Proctor shot looked like it had some potential about halfway up the air, just from the angle I'm sitting in. And so you're like, oh my God. And then when it goes over the backboard, there was a moment of holding your breath, because it would have been very Duke to hit that shot and force overtime, right? It would have been very Duke, very Mike Krzyzewski's Duke anyway. And then he chucks it from half court and it misses. And it is just chaos, hands in the air, people can run hugging one another, the high fives, the screaming, the one fellow who was sitting in our row had gotten up to get an adult beverage earlier in the game, and Houston had kind of made a run while he was up. And so he stayed down in the tunnel, and then he came back at halftime, and Houston got down double digits. He goes, I'm going to go back to the tunnel. And he just walked over the tunnel. No, and so then he spent the last 8 minutes of the game from the tunnel going crazy, screaming, and I don't know him by anything other than Tunnel Guy, but Tunnel Guy might have saved the day, Drake. Sports are weird like that. Who knows what it takes sometimes? Wow. He certainly thought he won the game by going to the tunnel, and who might argue with him?
I wouldn't. It's those people that take their sports that seriously that make this all the more cool. Duke, now that Duke is out, their fans can go back rooting for the Yankees or the Dodgers or Tom Brady's Patriots. They're still watching those reruns, I'm sure. Parker, you didn't beat FAU. You didn't even beat UConn. You didn't beat even Texas Tech, who's been in the Elite Eight for a handful of years, the past few. And I'll put it like in Arkansas in that boat too, right? There are schools where had you won this game the way you did, it would have been so awesome. But you did it against the pinnacle of college basketball the last 40 years, the Duke Blue Devils. You did it against the Alabama in football, the one school everybody wants to beat in the biggest moment, who is the number one Ken Pom team of all time. How much of this being against Duke added to the Final Four experience and the experience of this win?
Okay, so full disclosure, I've always hated Duke. I don't know.
Don't tell Cameron Stewart that. Do not tell Cameron Stewart that.
I'm a little older than you, but when I was a kid, ESPN loved the Duke Carolina rivalry, adequately so. It's a great rivalry in sports, and the JJ Redick years, and it was kind of growing up on top of whoever you rooted for. You were a Duke person or a Carolina person, and Carolina being the school that integrated its basketball team much earlier than Duke, and the school that is a public university and light blue, Jordan, whatever, Vince Carter, all the things. I was much more of a Carolina guy. I've always hated Duke, and that it's against, especially then you factor in last year's Sweet 16. Jamal Shead hurts his ankle in the Sweet 16 game against Duke. A lot different roster, obviously, but the same jerseys, and it's the same, fear of all that and everything. Just crazy that it got to happen against Duke, because we've heard about Duke since Cooper Flagg reclassified and committed. This was going to be a historic level Duke team. All week it was about Duke is the best team of all time, and their losses are times that they beat themselves and yada and all this kind of. And that it happened against Duke, I think, makes it that much sweeter. Never mind that we've got this Big 12 ACC kind of thing going where it felt weird that the ACC got as many teams in as they did and all that nonsense, right? It was really special that it was against Duke for a lot of reasons, both personally and for the program. It was awesome to see Duke go home. A lot of Duke fans in the state of Texas. You lived here for a second in Texas.
Fans.
They're
quote unquote fans.
It's crazy how that brand travels. And I don't think they actually, it's like you said, the air quotes, they didn't all go there. They like certain things about that basketball team, and that's just crazy.
Yep. There's a lot of T-shirt fans for Duke. It's similar to the University of Texas, where you have no relation to this. You shouldn't. No one went to the school, yet they still root for Duke. And Houston got to silence that crowd last night. Coming up, Houston will win against Florida. Let's prove it on a Locked On Big 12, Locked On Cougars crossover. Today's show is brought to you by Monarch Money. Like I have said before, I'm not great with the whole money thing. Like I look at my bank account and I wonder, where did all of it go? But thanks to Monarch Money, now I can spend smart. Your personal CFO is Monarch Money, giving you full visibility. It's not just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial control center. Spending too much in one place? Well, Monarch Money is going to keep you accountable with that. You can actually see, hey, I'm putting a lot towards delivery on food. Don't have to anymore. All-in-one convenience. Don't have to juggle multiple apps. It gives you your long-term goals. It tracks your spending, checks your finances, and you can manage your money with your partner. That's smoother than ever to set goals and stay on the same page. Take control of your finances on Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year with Monarch Money.